All right. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to another scene for Street Magic, where we will set scene probably kind of in those nice, unholy hours of the night slash morning. That nice in between time where you're really not sure which it counts as. And yeah, as usual, Taylor is up. She's always up at weird hours. She just can't help it. Maybe it's the fact that there's always a lot of energy drinks around. She really does like them. And the coffee. She likes the coffee. And the Mountain Dew. She digs the dew. But, as the case may be, she will, at this point, probably. This project's fairly small. So we'll plunk her out in, like, the big sitting area, somewhere, accessible, not necessarily tucked away in her workshop, because she's trying to pull bullshit with little bits of film or maybe little glass baubles that she can take a Dremel to and kind of make a lens. And it's finicky, and she has probably cut her fingers a few times, shattering glass that she was trying to very carefully get a small lens out of. But yay! That's life. And so let's face it, she's probably set up on the couch, got some cheesy, probably like Hocus Pocus going on the TV, because how can you not? It's October. It's officially the first day of Halloween. So, Hocus Pocus it is. And so yeah, that is blaring as blaring as kids go breaking into old buildings and lighting magical candles. She is crouched there, probably with some band-aids, and trying carefully, as there's bits of this and that on the coffee table and on the little side table. She is currently trying to stretch not quite cling wrap over a lens and see kind of what happens. And it's such a tiny lens. It's this teeny tiny camera, like the kind you'd expect someone to like put into some sunglasses or something. And she's just, she's got it like 2 inches from her face. But at least she's out in the open. That's good, right? There may be energy drink cans. There's like a NOS can over there and another NOS can over there, and a Mountain Dew right here at hand.
And eventually, through Tay-Tay's concentration, maybe broke or maybe somewhat jarred, as she'll hear the door go and shut.
Yeah, there's like a second of pause. And without even pulling the thing down from her face for a second, there's just this thoughtful squint. Like, what time even is it? Like, she looks at the TV. She pauses the Netflix for a second. Only one hand down now. Kind of blinks a few more times and finally, like, just flips her head around towards the door.
You flip your head around towards the door. Yeah, waiting for somebody to come in. You just kind of hear from behind you, as I imagine this kind of links around to hallway to the kitchen. Kitchen kind of links into the back side room. This kind of comes into the back from like what will now be behind you, more to your side as well. What are you doing?
Oh, you are the sneaky. Holy poop. She, like, the hand jolts down a little bit. She looks over. Not magic yet? Kind of pulls a face. Like she's not sure.
Kind of looks around. No, you're pretty sure she's clocking how many energy drinks there have been drank. Slowly nods to herself. Right.
Well, you see, I got this idea. Because there's that club, right? With the vampires in it. And the easiest way to see a vampire is if you can see, life energy and all that stuff, which I can't. They kind of stand out because they're dead. So I thought I could, of course we can always bug the place. You can just, normal bug the place and see what's going on in there. And that's not a big deal. But I thought if I could make something that would work as like an extra lens, then I could take that extra lens and, I can't enchant one to show life signs because I can't see them, but I could totally get them to show other stuff to see if there's anything hinky going on. That makes sense, right? She just looks over.
Vampires?
Oh, God. Yeah. Here, pull up a, let me just, snags the, those really big, we call them like, big rigs of NOS that have like the twist off cap instead of just the little pull tab. So she like takes one of those and plucks it up off the couch and sets it just over here. Yeah, come here. I should get you up to speed.
There's a pause. You can see the cogs turning, making the decision. She eventually sits down.
So, the drug you brought in the first night, that funky stuff, looks like one of the things in it was some kind of inert blood. Remember?
Yeah, dried blood.
Yeah, well, apparently vampires do weird shit to us. Like really weird shit to us. It messes with our mojo. And I am getting the impression a couple girls have gotten really sick. And we're pretty sure either whoever's producing, I'm pretty sure it's whoever's producing these, is in that club. The one that has the logo on the drug for some unholy reason. So we did a little snoop and we got totally interrupted because someone came up to me acting like a complete weirdo and I couldn't tell what they were and I didn't want to look, because I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes when, anytime we do stuff, sometimes you'll get the little tingle of some shit just happened. And I didn't want to give anyone the tingle and let them know that I was weird, so I couldn't look, and they acted like a weirdo, so then I called in the cavalry, and then it turned out it was just a street mage, and I kind of pulled us out of the club for technically an ally that Sketch and Kevin were really annoyed with for spooking me.
Right.
But Sketch did see that there are the VIP rooms and there's some sort of like crazy lounge upstairs or something, I guess. And they're expecting him to be back there. So, Bugs. She finally holds up the little, like, it doesn't look much like a camera right now. It's the guts of a teeny tiny camera. It looks kind of like a little box and some little, cords and little pluggety bits and a teeny tiny lens, just kind of all strung out like the entrails of a camera in her hand.
Right. But vampires, though.
Yeah, real vampires.
Right, real vampires.
Yeah. She actually kind of nods, finally sets the little camera guts down in her lap. Yeah, real vampires. I don't know how many of the, the movie things are true, but they're definitely real. And they definitely, do the blood, I suck your blood thing. And apparently their blood kind of throws our everything for a loop. And that's one of the things in the drug. That's why people are going bananas for it. It's probably also why they're giving it away for free. I don't know. Maybe get hooked on that too. But a lot of weird shit's been going down. So we need to figure out who the vampires are and what they're doing. Like, besides drugging people, I figure it goes a little bit further than a pill, right? I mean, they're vampires. It's got to be bigger than that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, real vampires. Werewolves are real, too. They definitely don't lose their shit, though, and, like, go big and grr every time they get mad, or specifically on the full moon. I'm not sure how that works, but it's definitely not quite movie cliche.
Right.
I promise this is not the horror movies and the energy drinks talking. As she kind of looks around and realizes the stage she has set. No, it's real.
She just nods.
And actually, come to think of it, I don't know how Sketch will feel, but have you met any of the street mages yet?
No.
So, I mean, you do have Sketch around if you need help with your magic, and I guess that Waldo guy, I don't know, he's kind of a douche, but people like me, apparently, that's what the street mages are. They're just people who are kind of figuring it out as they go and have been figuring it out. And it seems like they've kind of put together a little gang. Might actually be more your stride than some of ours. Like, I'm good at being, smiley and stuff, but I'm not exactly, I don't have street cred. Like, just looks down like, oh.
I won't worry about it.
So, I think they've got our numbers now. And, one of their guys is one of the ones who I guess either got drugged or worse in that club. And we're trying to show them that we give a shit. So they'll let us try to help her and work with us on figuring out what's going on. So I guess if you see him, she kind of helpless shrugs. At least you kind of know where they sit and everything. They're not like a big fancy tradition. They don't have the same crazy, like the Hermetics. They're straight up like Harry Potter strict. It's ridiculous. But these guys, they're just what they sound like, street mages.
Yeah, I've heard about them.
Oh. Well, I guess if you get the chance to make friends. Shrugs, make friends?
We'll see.
So how it goes with you?
What do you mean?
If I had to be specific, maybe first just the normal, the not magic weirdness. You good? Still able to get around and do what you need to do? Feel safe?
She pauses for a moment. You can try and P&E first if you want before I start this off.
Sure, why not? Let me do what I should have done before we began. Boop. And check my shit. Do. Dice. Oh, it's not the worst. That's good. Ooh! Tell me about your mother.
So, all right, that's 5 successes.
Yes.
So, how to describe this like that? So she pauses, and you can kind of see it written all over her face. She's thinking. She does it. Yeah, you notice she does it a lot before she does anything. Really, she thinks. She stops before she says anything. She thinks. She stops. This time she thinks. She stops, and you can almost see like the unraveling of what's going on in her head. That it's a mixture of just sheer fear, confusion, and all manner of other things along those lines. And the fact that you could easily just see by just the look on her face as well. I'll fuck it with 5. I'll just give you the whole shebang. It's almost weird that somebody's asked her that question. There's a lot what's coming through. It's weird. It's not normal.
Oh. Yes, the pause kind of draws on for a second because, man, that was a question. The head kind of tips around. It's okay to say nothing's okay.
It's not.
You want to talk about any of it? You don't have to.
I don't even know where to start.
There's a lot of places you can just. Any dot on the. Not even line on the matrix of fucked up shit.
Well, practically on my own all this time. The fucking drugs and all that shit that's going on. Now all this weird shit that's gone on for the past fucking few months. Find out that it's not just me being weird or going insane. It's actually a thing that's happening, and the fact that I was dancing on the knife's edge of just anything for all that time. Everything that's going on with I was just ignored by this shit. This fucking politics swirling around just because of what's happened and all that kind of shit. Now I've found out that a target's being painted on my back every fucking day, and the more I get involved with this shit, and now I find out vampires are fucking real, werewolves are fucking real. What else?
That's a lot of fair. She nods and finally just kind of sets all the, you can see her kind of take the stuff off her lap, kind of set a couple things on the coffee table, finally just snags up the Mountain Dew and pulls her legs up on the couch. Trying to face her properly. Like, you now have my full attention, essentially, move. I wish I could sympathize with not having known what was going on. I mean, I didn't in the moments when I woke up, but I got scooped up fast. You didn't have that. And I don't know if that's politics or that's just people being spooked. It seems like this place didn't used to be. Well, it seems like nothing used to happen here. So now that things are happening, a lot of these guys don't seem to know what to do. And so they're doing weird shit and leaving you out on the street or freaking out or not working together, and everyone's kind of having their internal freakouts and meltdowns, and it's a mess. Now, I can at least say, out of all of the ridiculous number of just terrible things, for one, I don't think there are any werewolves around here. I knew one really well, and they're not around here. Even if they were, it's not like they're going to come mauling or biting you, anything like that. They've got their own crazy things to fight. It's weird. I don't know what to tell you about vampires, except that I only ever had one really bad run-in, and like all the time back then when I was out more. And that was crazy shit that was affecting the whole city. That wasn't just like a little chance encounter. I don't think it's really likely that you're going to have to worry about it. And if you're ever, that little tingle I was talking about? The some shit just happened tingle? Like when people do magic? Pay attention to that. If that fires off and it's not coming from one of us, if you gotta duck out, duck out. If it goes off and you're somewhere where we're not, just get out of there. It's a pretty good tell for if something weird or supernatural is around or has taken interest. So you've got that.
Yeah, I mean that's just survival.
It is. It's an important trick, but you don't have to just go out and worry about surviving. You've got what we need here. If there's something you need a lot of money for, I'll help. Schedule help. But you don't have to worry about going out there and doing the daily grind just to get cash.
I need to go out there. Nothing used to be safe before. Yeah, that's sort of one of the first things you learn early. It's nothing safe. It's a game. It's always cat and mouse. Someone's after you. Someone's always coming after you. So you always check your shoulder and you always watch your own back. No matter who you're with, you always watch your own back. And now knowing all this shit, that just opens the playing field so big. And it's not just as simple as, you shut the door on it and that's it. It's just different.
It's a lot more to watch for. But you've also got more people watching your back, too. If you don't want to be out there alone, you don't have to be. I know I can't exactly go all the places you can go, but I can be nearby if you need me. Sketch can too. Even Kevin can. We don't mind watching your back if you need to be out there for some reason, if there's stuff you've got to do. Look out for each other. Hell, even if we're, I don't know, too conspicuous, I bet you could get in touch with those street mage kids. But they'd help watch your back too. Especially if you helped watch theirs in return. There's a lot to go out and deal with, but you don't have to do it by yourself. And we can help teach you to prep so that if something does go bananas, even if it's just the normal bananas, you'll have a trick or two up your sleeve. I know, I'm trying to learn something I don't know how to do. I can do some cool stuff, but like I said, I can't feel how things live the way that Sketch and Kevin can. I can't. I can't see it. I can't feel it. I can't, magically touch it. But I'm trying to learn how. And I know once you get better at it, you can do a lot more than just see. You can make yourself stronger. You can make yourself sturdier. I could gestures at Brooke, where she's sitting. I could, if you wanted, take just your normal hoodie and make it a little stronger. So if someone does try to get a shot on you, it'd be kind of like having something like the Kevlar, but it wouldn't stand out. Because, I can mess with things. Things are easy. Things have this very defining pattern, and I can see it, and I can make the weave a little tighter, or I can embellish it, and then the thing is stronger, or it has something extra on it, and that makes sense, but I can't even touch the other stuff. But if you need to be out there, toss me your hoodie and I'll see if I can get it beefed up a little for you. Give you an extra line of defense. Even if I'm not physically there, I can still have your back. It's all about, honestly, as much as I made fun of Catherine back in the day for how paranoid she could be, that paranoia is kind of good for you. Because if you can think of the things that can go wrong, you can think of ways to prep for it. And if you're prepped in advance, well, it's all pretty good. It's a lot harder to do this stuff on the spot, on the fly, than to just kind of, I don't know, Boy Scout it. Always prepared,
I know.
So, what all are you worried about? Maybe we can start fixing some of it. I can't fix everything, but anything that gives you a little more peace of mind is worth it, right?
Yeah. Like, worry about everything. You got to. Can't not. It's how you go for so long by yourself. Is you can't help it. It's habit.
It's a little bit of a nod. Again, the kind of searching look. Well, now you don't have to do it by yourself. You really don't. We're not just trying to make ourselves feel better by giving you a place to stay, Brooke. If there's something you want to learn and I can help you learn it, if there's anything I can do, if there are things you're worried about, I do want to help. I know what it's like to be freaked out.
I know.
I mean, I shove a sword down the back of my coveralls when I go out. It's ridiculous, but you'd be surprised how often I've had to use it. At least back in New York. Here it's kind of under the surface and it's low key. So we have time to adjust. She finally does kind of, you know what? She just offers a hand. But we've totally got this. It's scary as fuck, but we've got this. You've got good people watching your back.
And she looks. It's kind of like that. Oh, fuck it. You still got 5 successes. So it's kind of like that cornered animal and you reach out towards it. It's just that kind of. She looks at the hand and just watches it.
It's, let me be a little more descriptive. It's not like she's just sticking a hand out at her. It's if she had her arms like resting on her knees, because she's got her legs curled up on the couch. It's just the one hand kind of rolls over and out an offering, but the back of the hand's just laying on the couch a little bit. There's not the pressure to go for it. She doesn't have to. And it doesn't make like a huge, like she's not trying to bridge the gap here. It's a gesture that's enough that you can definitely see it, but it's also something Brooke can safely ignore.
Right, well, yeah, she looks at the hand very much the same way.
Yeah. It's finally a little bit of a pained smile, because, man, that hurts to see. It's just that little twinge, you know? Not used to having people look out for you. Or at least not trusting them to.
Don't trust anybody.
A little bit of a nod. The hand rolls back onto her knee. Just, no big fanfare. Just a thoughtful nod as she, grabs the knees. Okay. You know what? You got anything on under the hoodie? I'm not going to ask you to take it off if you don't have a shirt on.
You got a shirt on.
I mean, you can go ahead and... Let me rephrase that. If you want. And you can take all the stuff out of the pockets. I'm not rifling your hoodie. Could I see it? Try? At least one little layer more, right?
And again, you see that it's that pause, it's that ticking, the decisions being weighed in the head, but She starts to take the hoodie off.
Yep. And Taylor doesn't necessarily reach for it. If anything, she kind of, instead of leaning towards Brooke, who is on the couch, she kind of like turns herself around to lean over to the coffee table for a minute, starts kind of moving things, and then kind of pauses and rounds a little bit. Then, snags the Mountain Dew and stands herself up, waits. And once she does shed it, kind of, does the little head bob in a direction. Do you want to come with? Or you want me to just go be a weirdo? The workshop is easier to work in.
She turns to look at where the workshop is. And eventually starts to stand up.
There's the little bit of a smile, and it's not like, yeah, I've been victorious. It's just kind of like, yay, I don't have to go alone. And yeah, she'll turn and, I mean, she lets Brooke have her back. Not as a disrespect thing, just a general trust thing, takes the step or two, glances back, and if Brooke is moving, yeah, she'll go ahead and meander towards the workshop, and I will poke Heather because I need to know how many successes I need for stuff like this. And I'm pretty sure she's listening, but like the omnipotent creature she is. There we go. That was ta-da! Might want to. There you go.
There we go.
Yay!
So, what is it you're trying to do exactly?
I know there's a pretty common effect using matter to reinforce material. It won't make it armor grade, but it should give her a little bit more soak with the hoodie on.
Oh, so you're wanting to take like a $10 Walmart hoodie and make it a little bit more like a Carhartt jacket?
Yeah, something
Okay.
like that. She's basically going to take the pattern and try to poke and nudge and coax it to be as similar to the pattern that she recognizes as Kevlar. She won't be able to probably get it quite that far because, I mean, it's a hoodie. It's only going to give so much.
Okay. So I probably should have clarified this in my house rules. But I do count the Carhartt wear as reinforced clothing for the purposes of armor.
It makes sense.
Because everyone I know who works construction wears it for warmth and protection.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's essentially what she'll do.
So for every success you get on the roll that you put into the effect, it will improve from standard clothing to better than standard clothing to reinforced clothing.
All right.
So for what you're wanting to go for, and again, I'm assuming this is fairly cheap material. Correct me if I'm wrong, Katie.
I mean, correct her if she's wrong, Tom.
So what was it?
Is this pretty cheap material, or is this just nice?
It is your standard plain black hoodie.
Okay, so I am going to say it's probably about a $15, $20 hoodie then instead of a $10 one. So yeah, so so I'm gonna go ahead and say 2 successes on this.
Mm-hmm.
And each success after the 2 will make it it'll still be reinforced clothing, because you're not doing anything to really change the property of it to be like armor. But it will add one more extra dice of soak.
Okay. It'll just get more and more sus by the success after that, I assume.
Yeah.
All right. So I need 2 successes into effect to make it silky,
Mhm.
at the very least. And if I want it to last any considerable amount of time, a month is 4 successes. Ugh.
You're making this into a trinket. I am not. You do not need to spend into duration on it. It just is because I don't want to keep track of that shit.
All right. Do you want me to? Is there anything I need to dump? Actually, what's the? Do I need to do whatever my road is beforehand to make it hashtag a trinket?
Yep. Hit it with Prime. Prime 1.
Oh my god, I have these somewhere. Rotes. I don't have it all in there because I'm a noob. So how many successes do I need on its for the prime effect? It's how many successes, and then
It's one effect. And then each success after the first one lowers the difficulty of the next roll.
okay, hot. So basically, the more successes I get on the initial effect makes it easier to put the. So basically, the more successes I have in prepping it magically, the easier it is to put the
Yes.
magic on it.
Yep.
Okay. Here's the part where we're learning. And yeah, so she'll lead Brooke around into the workshop, which again is a pretty spacious area. It's just, for all intents and purposes, it's Taylor's sanctum. It is where she is the most comfortable doing magic. It's the place that she's the most familiar with, the patterns, the lines, everything. And she probably has areas that she's like nudged things around here or there to make it feel like, I don't know, fucking magically feng shui.
Mm-hmm.
See you calling me a noob in the comments.
So you are in your sanctum.
Yes.
So you will be rolling at difficulty 2.
I'm okay with that.
Because this is a rote, and you're in your sanctum. I bottom out our difficulties at 2 to be a little bit more generous because you guys are new.
Yeah, and because it's like, normally it's, oh no, minimum's 3, but you've got 20 dice.
Mm-hmm.
Minimum's 2. I've got 2 dice.
Yeah.
Need to get me some cult, man. Okay. So yeah, she'll lead Brooke in and probably like pull over. Ironically, she has like not just like display mannequins, but she also has like dress forms and stuff that she uses. She's got a whole area over there for sewing. And like I said, like at some point or another, you've come in and there's been like a no shit wedding gown on one of the dress forms. So she just kind of like snags one of those hilariously casually and kind of rolls it over to this spot and kind of gestures at it. It's like, there. You can stick it on there, or I can stick it on there. And if you want to put on your magic goggles, hopefully what I'm doing makes sense.
She'll put it down.
Yeah. Stick it on the mannequin. Well, the dress form. There's no like head or arms or anything. Just kind of plunks it up there so it's in the shape it's supposed to be worn in for the most part. So for the flappy sleeves. And, she'll glance over. You want to do the, she like does the little wiper fingers over her eyes. That's how I learned most of mine. Put on the magic goggles and just kind of watch what they were doing.
She nods. And what the fuck do I roll for that?
Roll your arete. The difficulty for you will also be 2 because of your foci.
I will also happily share my sanctum. She part of the chantry now.
I did it.
Hooray!
You did do it. So out of your spheres, you can just do Prime Sight, which is what Taylor defaults to. I don't know what other skill or sights you have.
Yeah, I should just default to Prime Sight.
And yeah, she'll wait a second until you. I mean, here's the question: how does Brooke activate it when she's turn it on the magic vision?
For this, you don't see it.
Oh,
She just kind of stands there and just thinks for a second. Yeah, all right.
there's the kind of oh expression. Shrugs, and yeah, she turn around. And for Prime, it is the nodding. So she'll reach over and snag one of the long. She has pieces of yarn and ribbon and shit all over the place. It looks like a chaotic mess, right up until she snags one, and probably just drapes it around the neck of the mannequin so it's falling down in front, and just kind of begins to fiddle together a nodding pattern, kind of and I mean, normally for Brooke's sake, it would look like, I don't know, when kids back in the day would bring clipboards and they'd pinch one end of a string and make friendship bracelets. This is essentially what she's doing with the neck of the mannequin. She just kind of loops it up there so it's got a brace and starts knotting a pattern. Try and get this thing all set for enchantment. Woohoo! 2 successes. Thankfully, only one needs to go into effect, so the other one will lower the diff on actually placing the secondary effect on it.
Yes.
And for Brooke's sake, what she's essentially doing, however Brooke sees magic, you said it's kind of like the mist and the glow and whatnot.
Peace.
Or smoke. I mean, she's doing the nodding pattern because it's what makes sense to her, but as she's doing it, it probably looks like it's kind of seeping a mist out of it as each little knot cinches up. And it's kind of, instead of fading out and dispersing, it's kind of almost breathing into the fabric and kind of creating, kind of like if you've ever seen something sprayed over with a setting spray. So there's kind of that little bit of sheen, the damp sheen, it's clinging to it, but there's nothing really standoutish about it. She's essentially priming it. So she'll do that first. And thankfully, in pretty quick order, just kind of gives a nod, okay, good. There we go. And seems content with that. And then matter. Did I specify a foci for matter? I probably didn't. Because I'm silly.
Let's see.
I also have to figure out where all of the everything is, because I don't seem to have it all on the sheet. This is what I get for not keeping things orderly. Let's look at the character sheet. Scrolly, scroll, scroll. Tools. I mean, the workshop is pretty much her thing for matter, so she will prime it out and seem pretty content, do the little nod of yeah. And she thinks for a second, kind of does the chin rub, glances around the workshop, and finally, takes a couple steps over to the sewing table and roots around, because she loses, there's at least 5 different little containers of straight pins in this building. She can find one, maybe, at a time. So she does a little bit of rooting, finally comes up with a little packet of straight pins, and takes out a handful of them, does that thing that you should never do, and sticks them in her lip, just pinches them between her lips, and comes back over, and we'll probably just kind of dive right back into it. So what would be the diff for the actual effect to tweak the matter.
Okay. Let me open up my screen here.
Because this one is not a road.
Yes.
But it is coincidental, and I don't remember what the reduction for a 3-point sanctum is, but she's got that.
Okay. I believe the reduction for a 3-point sanctum is -1.
Probably. I remember it wasn't very, if only I had one more point, I'm pretty sure that's where you hit the -2. But
So, let's see. We have... So your base difficulty for this is going to be 7. We're already at -2, which brings us down to 5 from the sanctum and using a tool. You can you can make a crafting roll to lower the difficulty further.
you know what? Fuck it. We'll involve a second tool. She'll actually, once she gets out the pins and comes over, she'll probably see places where, I imagine Brooke's had this hoodie for a while, hasn't she?
Yep.
Yeah. So she kind of goes over with the pins, pauses, actually looks at it, walks back over to the sewing table, grabs out just a straight up old school sewing needle, grabs up a spool of black upholstery thread, because that shit don't break for anything. Her needle will snap before that thread snaps. That fabric will give way before that thread snaps. And, strings it. Does essentially, it's the funniest thing, because Brooke, she doesn't measure in a conventional way. She either measures from, furthest extension of the arm to that shoulder, across to the far shoulder, or even full arm's length. So in this case, she does about like 2 full arm span across to the opposite shoulder lengths, clips it, threads the needle, rolls on the knot, and comes back over. And yeah, let's do a crafting roll to do some fixing, because this poor hoodie. This hoodie's had a lifespan. Catching up old seams, probably reattaching part of the pocket where it started to give way. Thankfully, this is a really good pool. And a really low diff. It's even sewing, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, lordy. Okay. Well, that definitely knocks your difficulty down to 2.
Ha-ha! Every little bit helps. So yeah,
Yes.
using the associated skill, use the successes to knock down the magic diff. Let's do the first roll. Which is hilariously nothing. And it'll continue. At this rate, she's gonna evolve enough thread to...
That's a failure. It's not a botch, so your difficulty is going to go up by 1, 2, 3.
Oh. Well then.
Oh no.
Oh
Yep.
no! Alright, so there's the 2.
Alright. So this next roll is going to be difficulty 4. You can spend willpower, you can, for automatic success, you can spend quintessence.
Just a reminder, so 2 successes already has it up to padded clothing, which is what, a +1?
Yes.
And another success would put it up to... How many successes would it take to give her a +2?
You would need 4 for that.
Total? Alright. Yeah. Let's keep rolling. Let's live dangerously. Actually, let's spend 1 of my quint. Let's just keep it obscenely low. Not that it was necessary. Let me tag them off that quint. Boit. And that is 4 successes. So
All
I
right.
guess for Brooke's point of view, she starts pinning bits together. She actually starts, no shit, just fixing up your poor hoodie. You've had the hood hasn't lain quite right. There's a hole here, where just wear and tear at the end of the sleeve. There's probably a place on the pocket where I got caught on something once and it tore maybe, an inch. And the seam otherwise has been fine, but it's been kind of fraying there. She actually just starts sewing the hoodie. And as she's doing it, again, it's this kind of mist is probably kind of seeping out of the thread and into the fabric and just kind of soaking in and leaving a little bit of a haze on it. But I'm trying to think of how you'd give the impression of armoring with mist.
So, Brooke, what you can see with this mist, the first thing you watched Taylor do, the mist went into the clothing and became a part of the fabric. This mist is going into the clothing, but rather than becoming a part of the fabric, it seems to be gathering itself on top of it. Almost like building another hoodie on top of the already existing hoodie.
Yeah, she stands there and watches.
And yeah, after, thankfully a fairly short period of time, Taylor starts, she periodically snips the thread, ties a new knot, does a little bit more, and finally kind of, pulls out the straight pins, tucks them in the corner of her lip again, snips the thread, ties the knot out of habit, but kind of eyeballs it up and down real good. And we kind of takes the sewing needle and of all things, just one of the pockets on her coveralls, just kind of sticks it through the fabric in and out a couple times. So it's kind of lodged in there with the string hanging down. And stands back, hands on hips, and is like, I think that's good. I think that's as good as I can get away with before it starts. Tips her head a little bit, being weird. When things get too weird, it gets really weird. And yeah, she starts kind of pulling it, coaxing it back off of the mannequin. Just offers it over.
She takes it again.
That shouldn't, even if it's just a straight up backstreet casual attempt at a shiv, I'm pretty sure that'll eat most of it.
It doesn't feel any heavier, Brooke. It doesn't really feel any different to you. It feels like the same old hoodie. The fabric is maybe a little bit softer than you remembered, but otherwise it just feels the same.
Yeah, no, she feels it and kind of just holds it in her hand for a second before just kind of bunching it in her hand and holding it at her waist. Thanks.
Hey, one less worry. A bit of a grin. She does have to pluck the straight pins out of her mouth. Probably very similarly, now she won't stab them all into her pocket. She'll return them to the little case, click it shut, and kind of just lob it vaguely in the direction of the sewing table. It'll probably land on it, pop a few times, and then skid off the other side. She just does the hand flop like, fuck it looks good there. And if someone does manage to, well, if you do manage to damage it, just bring it back and I'll fix it up.
Yeah, she doesn't say anything, just that small nod.
So, what else are you worried about? I know it's pretty much everything, but is there anything else that maybe I could fix? Even just a little.
I don't know. It's just, it's not as easy as just, fixing things.
Wouldn't that be awesome? He reaches up and ruffles some of her hair, which is probably a bad idea because she's got kind of the loose bundle of hair in the back, so just more of it falls down her under ears. I'm not the best at all this stuff, but this I can do. Just kind of gestures, probably roughly towards the sewing table, like this I can do.
I appreciate it.
It's no problem. If that thing works even once, it was 200% worth doing.
I won't be surprised if it does.
I mean, if the kind of stuff Sketch told me about from back in his heyday is true, I wouldn't be surprised either.
I'd believe it.
Yeah, I would too. Doesn't do a lot for your faith in humanity, does it?
No, it doesn't. But it's not really something you think of there. You don't have time to be all philosophical about it.
I suppose not. But you know what? Just because we're here. Oh, go ahead.
No, you carry on.
Oh, just because we're here. I figured Tay's gonna check her phone because she's passed her number out pretty far at this point. And some of this is stuff that's one really cool, action. But some of it's just gonna be trying to get into contact and trying to create working relationships. So she's just probably been checking her phone frustratedly.
I mean, you have an annoying amount of hourly check-in texts from Rain, including some pictures of Mike, the guy she brought to the bar, as her date. Apparently, that's who she was seeing last night, and well, let's just say Taylor, judging by the angle they were taking at, even though these pictures are almost totally safe for work, you would assume Rain was sitting on top of him when she took them.
You know what? Rain had a good night and good for her. Good for Rain. As long as she got the check-ins right up till she got home with Mike. And probably I assume, like, the morning hangover text.
Mm.
The I'm dying.
It's gibberish. She it's a sentence about scones. Like, just waxing poetic on scones and how wonderful they are. That ends with, but it's basically a biscuit with sugar in the dough.
Let's face it, she probably read all those earlier and got her giggles and sent some things back to Rain. But yeah, it's just checking because they gave numbers to the street mages, they gave numbers to the girls. She can hope and maybe if Brooke she's got this idea in her head that maybe if she and Brooke can meet these guys, Brooke probably will resonate with them pretty strong. Maybe she'll resonate with them okay, but at least Brooke wouldn't feel utterly alone on the street. You're supposed to have like a handful of people, right? Even if you don't trust them implicitly.
You do have a message from Kathleen. She'd like to meet for coffee.
Yeah, so she eyeballs her phone. Does look back over to Brooke. Did the whole seeing the magic thing help at all?
That helped.
Have you met Kathleen, by the way? She just like gives the phone a wiggle, like this is why I'm even asking. Not one of the girls that got messed up by the drugs, I don't think. She got put down by trying to do some magic and having it kind of blow up in her system. Well, in her face, as it were. It happens sometimes. It's not the end of the world, but it sucks. We managed to get it, fixed up, got her all put back together, but she's obviously kind of new too. If you wanted to meet her.
We'll see.
Okay.
Mainly because time has to go in like 5 minutes.
Oh, that's pretty legitimate. Well, I can't fix the worry, but you want to, I don't know, pick out on popcorn and watch Netflix?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can do that.
Cool. And yeah, she started heading on out of the workshop. Really kind of shows the mannequin back over roughly where it was before. And yeah, sooner rather than later, there will be popcorn popped. The movie theater butter popcorn. So too much butter popcorn. And yeah, she'll plunk on the couch. Probably pop Brooke her own bag. And she will not attempt to dictate how close or distant Brooke sits, but will just be kind of playfully conversational about whatever stupid movie she puts on next. I'll say Nightmare Before Christmas, why not? It's totally a Halloween movie, okay? She feels very strongly about this. But any further thoughts on Brooke? Any changes in her overall carriage or posture or anything when she settles in for that?
Roll me perception, empathy.
I will. Ugh.
If you want to know more, you gotta fucking find it out, Katie.
I will. I got 2 successes this time.
So, she does talk. So she doesn't say a lot. She doesn't really seem to ever say a lot, really. But, even by Brooke's standards, she speaks like a lot more. But it's one of those where she just doesn't, you relax, you relax pretty easily. She doesn't. It's she might be more comfortable, but she doesn't relax. There is no relax.
She will make note, but she will not comment. Brooke doesn't necessarily understand all the effects on the house, and why would she be relaxed? Besides, there are people in here and staff and ugh. So no, she won't comment on it. She just does her best to lead by example. She plunks out on the couch and grabs a throw blanket and everything and seems pretty confident that this is safe. But I suppose that is where we'll end it. Unless you would like to say any more, good Tom.
Meh.
Wise words.